recent memory. In fact, back in 1995, famed Boston-born gangster Whitey Bulger fled the city, and after 16 years at large and 12 years on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list, he was arrested in California, June of 2011. As his trial approaches this June, a new book is out, Whitey Bulger, America's Most Wanted Gangster and the Manhunt That Brought Him Closer to Justice. It's written by Boston Globe's Kevin Cullen, who, along with his colleague, Shelley Murphy, covered Bulger for some 25 years. Kevin, it's good to see you.
Thanks, Craig.
First of all, were any of the Boston officials who were at the center of the Bulger case, were they also involved in the manhunt to find the Boston bombers?
No, there's a real gap between that. I mean, at the very end, there was a very small multi-agency task force. It really came down to an FBI agent named Phil Torsney and a deputy U.S. Marshal named Neil Sullivan, and they were able to find him in the end by actually putting out a series of ads that a woman sitting in her house in Reykjavik, believe it or not, in Iceland, recognized them as this couple. Him and Whitey's longtime companion on the road with him is a woman named Kathy Gregg. And this woman in Iceland knew them from Santa Monica because they used to stop and take care of a stray cat. And she thought she liked her, she didn't really like him. And that's how they found him.
Bulger, of course, on the run for so long, was featured on America's Most Wanted some 16 times, depicted by Jack Nicholson in The Departed. You and your co-author, Shelley Murphy, you write in the book, quote, "We aim, in short, to present Whitey in full. Many descriptions of him and much of the lore about him have traded in caricature. Whitey was more complicated, more compelling, more frightening than that." How so?
Well, I mean, he's a guy of contradictions. He's charged with 19 murders, Craig, and several of those murders involve him. The allegation is he put a gun to the back of the head of a human being and blew their brains out. And after he did that, on several occasions, he went down upstairs and took a nap. That's how much that affected him. But we found people that he knew on the run. And initially, they were in Louisiana. They were in Cajun country, and they befriended a Cajun family down there, and they ate dinner with them all the time. And this family had a litter of puppies, and one of the puppies was so developmentally disabled that they were advised by their vet to put the dog down. And when the Cajun fellow took out his gun to shoot the dog, Whitey looked away. He couldn't watch the dog be shot, and when the shot rang out, he began to weep. So this is a fellow who could weep over a puppy, and yet the allegations are that he did the same thing to human beings and was so casual about it that he could go upstairs and take a nap after doing it.
A different kind of evil, allegedly. Hey, you were part of that Globe team that outed Bulger as an FBI informant back in '88. What kind of immunity has he had, or does he feel he's entitled to?
Well, I mean, I personally think Whitey has watched too many Jason Bourne movies. You cannot get immunity to murder a U.S. citizen. It doesn't happen. I mean, he wants it both ways. He's trying to claim he's not an informant, because where he came from, there's nothing worse than being a rat. There's nothing worse than the Irish consciousness than being an informer, and he was an informer. Part of our book relies on a 700-page informant file in which the material we went through, he would have you believe that the FBI made it up. I'm sorry. The information was nothing that an FBI agent would know. It was stuff about his gang. It was about his own people, and it was about his competitive gangsters. Only Whitey knew this information. So when he said he wants you to believe that he wasn't an informant, and yet the government liked him so much they gave him immunity to murder human beings, it's nonsense.
A reward of $2 million had been offered for information leading to his capture. That amount second only to Osama bin Laden's capture reward money on the FBI's Most Wanted Fugitives list. How did he escape for so long? How did he remain on the run for so long?
Well, the first year of any fugitive investigation is crucial. And as Shelley and I point out in the book, the FBI took control of the investigation when he took off to find him, which was a joke. It was a blatant conflict of interest. Not only was it a joke that the FBI had anything to do with it, the very organized crime squad that he corrupted, who he gave money to these agents, he socialized with these guys. He ate dinner at their homes. And they were supposed to find him. They didn't find him because they weren't looking for him. And by the time an interagency task force was put together 2 years later, the trail had gone cold. And so the FBI was corrupted and was totally corrupted by Whitey Bulger. They not only looked the other way while he murdered people, they actively blocked honest law enforcement efforts to find him and to bring him to justice for these murders. And that same FBI protected him while he was on the run. And that's why he was out there for 16 years, because the FBI was totally corrupted by this guy.
Kevin Cullen, the whole thing sounds quite fascinating. That new book is out. Kevin, thank you so much.
Thanks, great.
Do appreciate your time.
Sure.
Harry's U.S. tour. How he's paying tribute to our wounded warriors in this